Well, for more on this, let's speak to international economist and business consultant Vicky Pryce. Hello, Vicky. Thanks for joining us. 8 years on, these Brexit border checks are coming into effect. What's taken so long?
It's the cost, really, and the difficulty that loads of importers are going to be facing from here on. The interesting thing is that those checks have been postponed something like 5 times. This is the 6th attempt, and even this 6th attempt is not going to be the full list of checks that could be carried out. It's going to be quite measured. Only the high-risk ones, things like live animals, for example, are likely to be inspected. So what happened in January is that everybody needed health certificates to bring in all these items that you mentioned before, whether it's meat and whether it's cat flowers, actually, plants, eggs as well. When you think about the various categories that are out there, you needed a health certificate before they came in. So that started in January, finally. The Europeans have been having those checks anyway since we left properly. So they've been there since the summer, actually, of 2021, but we hadn't imposed any on the other way, things coming in. So it is going to be a problem for many importers. It is going to increase costs, but how much that cost will rise by is still uncertain, because even now the government is proceeding quite cautiously.
Well, they say time is money. If we look at the practical implications, how much time is this going to add into that chain of supply?
That's a very interesting question, because, of course, it all depends whether a particular consignment, things coming in from Europe, is perceived to be high risk or perhaps fall into the category of less check, something between 1% and 30%, which is what we hear of even the low risk ones at some point, rather than go 100%. That means that you have to take everything out of a particular lorry. You don't know whether your consignment is going to be the one that you're bringing in that is going to be affected. You don't know whether by the time that consignment comes in, there's still someone working at the customs desk, if you like, at the border desk, to do that inspection, or they're qualified to do it. So it could actually be quite a long delay for a number of people. And what everyone's been concerned about right now is not so much if they know that this is what's going to happen and it's going to take a certain amount of time, it's going to cost this much, fine, at least they can possibly adjust. But at present, they don't know. Will they be subjected to this? Will it be someone else? How is it all going to move in terms of how long it actually takes for any consignment to be inspected and then be allowed forward? All these things are up in the air right now, and everyone today has been saying, well, let's see what happens on day one, and let's get some idea of what the actual cost will be, and then we'll decide whether we carry on, in fact, bringing things in from the EU.
Well, we know that the markets don't like uncertainty. Is it a given, though, that the British consumer should expect to ultimately pay more from goods imported from the EU?
The main reason for paying more is not so much tariffs, because we don't have any tariffs. It is for the cost of doing all these things. And, of course, there is a place where everything needs to be checked. There are people you have to pay for, so they're paying for that service, if you like. Because, of course, the agreement that we have with Europe is that there is no tariff imposed on anything that goes either way between the UK and Europe, and between, of course, Europe and the UK. So, depending on whether it's an import or an export. But I'm afraid these costs add. As with exports, the cost of, having to have big queues at the Channel ports to move across to the EU has also added to cost quite considerably. So if you look at what the estimates are, the government itself thinks that perhaps it would be something like just over £300 million a year. However, for the importers. However, quite a lot of other estimates suggest it could be over £1 billion, possibly £2 billion. And that is a big, big hit, particularly for smaller firms.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Vicky Pryce is an economist and business consultant.